And this is a cooperative board game that's based on the video game with the same name, and this new version is going to be offering shorter game modes, upgraded components, a better storage solution, and a bunch of expansions which are going to add new characters, companions, and people to protect. But if you're not familiar with this game, this is a survival story-driven game that takes place in a war-torn city. Players are going to be navigating a series of morally complex decisions, managing scarce resources, and trying to survive through the drab, depressing, mature-themed content. And I do want to emphasize that this content is for a mature audience. If you don't do well with uncomfortable decisions or situations, this might not be the game for you. But if you are okay with that style of content, this is supposed to be a really well-designed game, really well-written, and although it does take risks going into some more unconventional areas, I think that also helps in making this game deliver something unique and different. But in this game, players are going to be playing as different characters with different stats and abilities. And like I said, you're going to be trying to survive through a series of chapters, fighting hunger, illness, fatigue, and the physical wounds that are inevitable in the harsh environment that you are currently living in. All of these things can also kill you, but if they're not doing that, they're at the very least going to limit the actions that you have for that character, either by limiting what they can actually do, or by limiting the action points that they will be able to have access to. As you play through the chapters, there's also going to be different objectives or requirements and consequences if those requirements go unfulfilled. So this is going to be pivoting the player's goals depending on the decisions and successes and failures that they have along the way. At the start of a round, players are going to be drawing a fate card that can have a whole variety of different effects, and some of these effects might be conditional on the past decisions or conditions of the characters. And players are also going to be drawing a narrative card which can introduce some new discoveries and possibly grant some positive effects or items. But from that point forward, players are going to be taking turns spending action points in order to perform various actions, like searching for different goods or materials that you can then use actions to craft into items. And you can create things like radios, a workshop, a heater, or beds, or other utilities like that, which can be used to just become more efficient or help you recover from different damages, or they might unlock new areas and actions altogether. At the end of the round, each player does also need to eat or drink, or of course that is going to have negative consequences on their condition. And then players are going to assign each of the characters 2 different night actions. The different actions that you can choose from is to send them out on scavenge missions, which allows them to draw cards, and this can help you find different items, people, or food. And these can all have different outcomes and may offer choices and narrative that you'll have to read out from the booklet. But rather than scavenging, you can also assign them to guard duty, which is important if you want to protect from the different threats of the world. And whoever you assign to that might have to deal with different severities of events like thugs, looters, starving civilians making their way into your house, military personnel, or possibly nothing at all. If you do end up finding yourself in a scuffle, you're going to be resolving combat by rolling dice depending on the weapons that you have. And of course, depending on how well you do, you might get some damage as well, which is going to be something that's going to be limiting you on the following rounds. If one of your characters isn't in the best shape, you'll probably just want to send them to sleep so they can rest up to either help them heal or deal with their fatigue. And if the players do well enough, I hope there's a happy ending here. I can't guarantee you that there is. Like I said, this game does have a lot of mature subject matter, and your characters are going to be pushed to their limits, and they're really just focused on surviving here, not trying to create the perfect life. And you're in a world where all the other people are also trying to do those things, which does push people to do things that they probably shouldn't be doing otherwise, and you and your fellow players are going to have to face those decisions as well. One of the things I really do love about board gaming is that you can be thrown into all sorts of situations with your friends, taking on these different roles in a safe environment. And this is a game that's offering one of those experiences, albeit a very bleak one. But if you're okay with that and you're interested to see what this one has to offer, I will have it linked down below. And of course, you can click to follow along to get notified when this one launches. And I almost forgot to mention that this one is also our Discord pick of the week, receiving the most votes from those wonderful morally questionable members on the Discord.